an article in the Kokomo Tribune of Greentown, Indiana, it is not clear whether the intent was to praise the local school system or condemn it. Nevertheless, the latter is likely to be the result. The article's title and subheading read, "A Fine Line Between Church and State," followed by, "Eastern Howard School Corp acknowledges Christian influence within the public school district." And it is peppered with quotes that seem to attempt to portray the school system as adhering to federal funding provisions based on the First Amendment. But many people will come to other conclusions. In fact, some already have. Attorneys for the Freedom from Religion Foundation, FFRF, have already contacted the school superintendent to express their concerns based on actual quotes from several school staff members who claim that they have towed the line between bringing religious values into the classroom and actually teaching religion. In a letter from the FFRF attorney Sam Grover, writing to Superintendent Dr. Tracy Cadell, Grover gave a lesson of sorts in the Constitution and the early days of the country, pointing out that George Washington, among others, was not particularly religious at all, and that quotes including a prayer attributed to him on one of the interior walls of the school are historically inaccurate. While reading of the Christian Bible is portrayed by the school staff as purely for historical reasons, there are no mentions of reading similar holy books from other religions, and no input was solicited from people in the community who do not share Christian values, even though such students were acknowledged to exist. We will undoubtedly be hearing more about this if the FFRF or some other group decides to question federal funding for the school district. Church of England accused of double standards over low wages. In Britain, just as is the case in the United States, minimum wage laws are hotly debated, and it is generally recognized that a so-called minimum wage often isn't enough to live on. Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, has had to backtrack on criticisms that the government should raise minimum wage values from their current £6.50 to a more reasonable £9.15 for workers living in London and £7.85 for workers outside the London area. This is the supposed living wage that some have proposed. Now, the Archbishop is admitting that such a thing is easier preached than practiced, as the church has been caught red-handed advertising for low-level workers at the minimum wage level or only slightly above it. The Archbishop has stated that he is a bit embarrassed about the discrepancy, but has made no promises to correct it right away, either saying that such an adjustment would take time and that there is no central control of wages among the various parts of the church. It's no secret that many members of Italian crime families regard themselves as devout members of the Catholic Church. It also might not surprise many to find that the proceeds from illegal activities often find their way into church coffers. But Pope Francis continues to shake things up by aiming recent words at a group of pilgrims from the southern Italian region of Calabria, which is home to one of the country's largest crime organizations. He has likewise in the past made appeals to people of the Calabria region during the summer, telling them in essence to mend their wicked ways. The area is said to generate over 50 billion euros in illegal transactions each year, which amounts to 3.5% of the country's total economic output. Telling them that they had excommunicated themselves by their adoration of evil, the Pope also stated that the Lord was waiting for them to show a willingness to serve good that was as clear and public as their choice to serve evil was. Last year, the Pope excommunicated all Mafiosi, although with many such crime figures denying any criminal activity. For the record, it is not obvious that this impacts their relationship with the Church in any significant way.